හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Saturday, the 4th of November 2023. Gas hike. State gas supplier Litrogas Lanka announced a revision of its domestic gas cylinders with effect from midnight tonight. SLC resignations. Secretary of the Sri Lanka Cricket Board resigns following devastating defeat of the team at ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. Electricity theft. CEB reveals loss of 80 million rupees within the first 8 months in 2023.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and a warm welcome to today's edition of AdaDerana's English News First at 9. I'm Jonathan Benedict. Let's take a look at our top stories right now. Litrogas Lanka announced an upward revision to the prices of its domestic gas cylinders with effect from midnight tonight. Chairman of Litro, Mudita Piris, added that the price revision reflects the price variations in the global market as a result of the ongoing war in Israel, and further highlighted that price reductions can be expected in future if the gas prices are maintained at this level without escalation.
Amidst the price hike prevailing in the global market, Sri Lanka's state-run domestic gas supplier Litrogas Lanka announced its latest price revision with effect from midnight tonight. This comes days after the fuel stations Sipetco, Lanka Indian Oil Corporation and Sinopec revised their fuel prices for this month. Accordingly, the 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder, which is 3,470 rupees, will be increased by 95 rupees and the new retail price will be 3,565 rupees. Meanwhile, the 5 kilogram gas cylinder will be increased by 38 rupees to 1,431 rupees, while the 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder, which is sold at 650 rupees, will be increased by 18 rupees to 668 rupees from midnight tonight.
මැද පෙරදිග යුදමය තත්ත්වය ලෝක වෙළඳපොලේ ගෑස් වෙළඳපළට ඒක බලපාන විදිය ඒකම මෑතකදී අපි දැක්කා ඩොලරයට සාපේක්ෂව රුපියල අවප්‍රමාණය වීමක් අපි දැක්කා. ඉතින් ඒකත් ඉතාමත් ඍජු ලෙස අපේ මිල ගණන් වලට බලපානවා. රුපියල් 3500 ගණන් වල මේ මිල තියාගන්න ලැබවීම අපි ලැබපු ජයග්‍රහණයක් කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. මොකද දෙසැම්බර් මාසේ ජනවාරි මාසේ කිට්ටු වෙනකම්ම තියෙන්නේ සීත ස්ත්‍රෝය. ඒ හින්දාම මිල වැඩිවීමට නියමිතයි. හැබැයි මේ මිල වැඩි වෙන ප්‍රමාණය අපිට මේ විදියට අල්ලගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්. පෙබරවාරි මාසයෙන් පස්සේ අපිට මේ මිල නැවත වතාවක් 2000 ගානේ සීමාවට තාමත් ලේසියෙන් මට ගේන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
Addressing a gathering at the opening of the courts complex in Valimada yesterday, President Ranil Wickremesinghe drew attention to the contrasting approaches of the international community when it comes to addressing the current human rights concerns in Gaza, as opposed to the way it was addressed with Sri Lanka. President Wickremesinghe highlighted that both regions have faced and are facing significant human rights challenges, but the responses from the West appear to differ significantly. President Wickremesinghe further pointed out that the West, including the USA, had passed resolutions against Sri Lanka for its alleged human rights record. He questioned why there was a difference in the approach taken by Western nations towards Sri Lanka, where similar issues were prevalent, and stressed that the same rules should apply to both regions.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday officially opened the Valimada court complex, which was built with an investment of 460 million rupees.
Now the rule of law, though at that time confined to a few countries, have now become universal. And it's also enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which we are all to follow. But it requires everyone, every country to adhere to it. And today, there are major issues that has risen in regard to the Declaration of Human Rights and the normal course of international affairs. I only must refer to the war that is taking place in Gaza. When Hamas attacked Israel, the government of Sri Lanka condemned. Though Sri Lanka stands by the principle of Palestine in statehood, we cannot condone this act. But that it does not in any way justify the killings of over 10,000 people in the Gaza Strip. Now this raises another issue. Are you entitled to have declared war to one area of your own country? Can you go to war against? So we have gone through this question. And can countries condone it? Because when he brought a motion for the ceasefire, many of our countries, all of us voted for it. USA opposed it and some other countries also opposed. Why is it that they are acting in this manner? Because last year in October at the Human Rights Council, they all got together and passed a resolution against Sri Lanka. And we all have to follow it. Now, what is this difference? We have been asked in this, underscoring the importance of addressing the underlying governance factors and root causes that have contributed to that crisis, including deepening militarization, lack of accountability in governments and impunity of human rights violations, abolition and abuses, and reaffirming also that all measures taken to combat terrorism must comply fully with states' obligations under international law, in particular international human rights law, and as applicable international refugee law and international human rights law. Express concerns at the human rights impact of the economic crisis, including as a result of increased food insecurity, severe shortages in fuel, shortage in essential medicine, and reductions in household incomes. That's what they said of Sri Lanka last year. It is much worse in Gaza today. And stress the importance of the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, the grievances and demands of the Tamil and Muslim population. So what you are being asked here in Gaza is to address the concerns of the Muslim population. Sri Lankan government must address it. Why is there another rule? Well, the Arab Palestinians are Muslims and they have all been marginalized in their own place. So I ask them, why is it that the US applies this to us but not in Gaza? Okay, let's say the UN is handling the Gaza issue. When we go next year to the UN Human Rights Council, we will be judged by this. There's one law for us, one standard for the others.
State Minister of Higher Education Suren Raghavan announced an allocation of funds worth 225 billion rupees for primary and secondary education, with a further 10 billion rupee allocation expected for higher education in 2024. He further went on to say that plans to introduce degree programs categorized under fine arts, humanities and social sciences under one dashboard for the first time in Sri Lanka are currently underway.
දර වශයෙන් 24 අවුරුද්දේදී අධ්‍යාපනයට කියන්නේ ප්‍රාථමික හා ද්විතීක අධ්‍යාපනයට රුපියල් බිලියන 255ක් අපි වෙන් කරන්නට යෝජනා කර තිබෙනවා. තවත් බිලියන 110ක් උසස් අධ්‍යාපනයට තෘතීක අධ්‍යාපනයට ලබා දෙන්නට අපි වෙන් කර තිබෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ මුදලෙන් අපි කරන්න උත්සාහ ගන්නේ අපේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල 17න්ම තිබෙන උපාධි වර්ග අපේ උපාධි 988ක් තිබෙනවා. සියලුම විශ්වවිද්‍යාලවලින්. එයින් 314ක් පමණ වන ප්‍රමාණයක් අපි වැටෙන්නේ ලලිත කලා මානව ශාස්ත්‍ර හා සමාජ විද්‍යාව කියන අංශයට වැටෙනවා. ප්‍රථම වතාවට ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලවල උගන්වන මේ ලලිත කලා මානව ශාස්ත්‍ර හා සමාජ විද්‍යාව කියන විෂයන් පිළිබඳව හරි විශ්ලේෂණයක් කරන්නට අපි එක ඩෑෂ්බෝඩ් එකකට ගේන්න උත්සාහ ගන්නවා. මේ විෂය පටන් ගත්තේ කවදාද? වසර 10ක් තුළදී සිසුන් කී දෙනෙක් එතනින් උපාධි ලැබුවාද? ආචාර්ය මහාචාර්ය මණ්ඩල කීයක් ඉන්නවද? ඒ විෂය තුළ දැනට සිදු වී තිබෙන ලෝක මට්ටමේ සමාජ විද්‍යාව වගේ කියන එකක් හැමතිස්සෙම දේශපාලන විද්‍යාව කියන එක හැමතිස්සෙම වෙනස් වෙන ස්වරූපයක් තිබෙනවා. ඒ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ඒ වෙනස් වන ආකාරය උගන්වන්නට අපට ආචාර්ය මහාචාර්යවරු ඉන්නවද? ඒ කියන සැලැස්ම අපි විශ්ලේෂණ මට්ටමේ ඉන්නේ. නමුත් මේ අවුරුදු අවසානට කලින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. එයින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන අපේ ඉලක්කය නම් දැනට සමාජයේ විසින් යම් හෝ විදිහක දෝෂාරෝපණයක් තිබෙනවා. ආර්ට් ඩිග්‍රී ගත්තේ උන් තමයි ප්‍රශ්න කරන්නේ කියලා. ඒක සම්පූර්ණ වැරදක්. ආර්ට් ඩිග්‍රී ගත්තේ උන් නෙමෙයි වරද තියෙන්නේ. ඒ ආර්ට් ඩිග්‍රී එක අපි දෙන ක්‍රමය වැරදි. ආර්ට් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් දෙන එක අපි වෙනස් කරලා නැහැ.
During a Committee on Public Accounts meeting, it was revealed that over 4 billion rupees was incurred by the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs and the Department of Sports Development on sports development projects. However, no feasibility study had been implemented prior to any of the implementation of those projects. Speaking at the COPA meeting, the chairman of the National Sports Council, Derana, unveiled that the issue which prevails following the construction of these projects is the inability to maintain such projects, and further highlighted that a successful strategy should be in place to address the current issues.
ක්‍රීඩා අමාත්‍යාංශය හා ක්‍රීඩා සංවර්ධන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව ගත්තම ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් මේ ව්‍යාපෘති ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම සඳහා 2020 21 22 අවුරුදු 3 ගත්තොත් ව්‍යාපෘති වෙනුවෙන් බිලියන 4කට වඩා වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් වියදම් කරලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් මේ කිසිම ව්‍යාපෘතියක් ප්‍රමුඛතා පිළිවෙලින් අඳුරගන්නේ නැහැ. අනික කිසිම ශක්්‍යතා අධ්‍යයනය කරලා මේ ව්‍යාපෘති අඳුරගන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක පේන අවසානයේ මේ ව්‍යාපෘති සමස්තය අවුරුදු ගණන් මුදල් යට කරලා මේකට රිටර්න් එකක් නැතුව එහෙ තියෙනවා. පිළිතුරු වාර්තාවේ දීලා තියෙන පිළිතුරු සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට සාහිමයටපත් වෙන්න බෑ. මේ දීලා තියෙන පිළිතුරුත් පිළිගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ක්‍රීඩා සංවර්ධන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරපු අතහැර දමව ව්‍යාපෘතිය යටතේ තියෙන පස්වෙනි එක මොණරාගල දිස්ත්‍රික් ක්‍රීඩා සංකීර්ණය මේක දැන් ඉදිකිරීම කරලා තියෙන ගල්පොත්තක් උඩ දැන් ගල්පොත්ත මත වෙලා මිලියන 19.5ක් වියදම් කරලා දැන් මේක අතහැරලා දාලා දෙක කරන්න බැරි වුණා. ඒතකොට මේක අධ්‍යයනකින් තොරවද මේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය වලට යන්නේ කියන එක. කළුවර ගස්වැව ශාලිය ආදර්ශ පාසලේ ප්‍රේක්ෂකාගාරය සංවර්ධනය කිරීම කියන එකට දීලා තියෙන පිළිතුර මේක දැනට භාවිතයට ගන්නවා කියන තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ඔය අපි අගෝස්තු මාසේ ගත්ත ෆොටෝ එක. ඒතකොට මේ දීලා තියෙන සියලු පිළිතුරු සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට කමිටුවක් විදිහට සාහිමයටපත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙනවා.
සභාපතිතුමනි පාසලට ඊට පස්සේ බාර දුන්නාම ආදිශිෂ්‍ය සංගමෙන් ඉතිරි වැඩ ටික බාර අරගෙන කරනවා කියලා තියෙනවා.
ඒකට මේක ඉවර කරගන්න ක්‍රමයක් නැහැ.
දැන් පිළිතුර දීලා තියෙන්නේ මේක දැන් භාවිතයට ගන්නවා කියන එක.
ඒකයි ඉතින් අපිට හරි තොරතුරු කියන්න.
එතකොට මේ පිළිතුර දෙන්නේ කිසිම වකින් විරහිතව නෙමෙයි.
බිංගිරිය ප්‍රධාන ක්‍රීඩාගාරය සකස් කරාට පස්සේ එහි ස්කෝප් එක වෙනස් කරලා වහල වෙනස් කරන්න යාම නිසා ගැටලු සහගත තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙලා දැන් කොන්ත්‍රාත්කරු කොන්ත්‍රාත්තුවෙන් ඉවත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
අර්ජුන රණතුංග මම ඔබතුමාලා ජාතික සභාව විදිහට පොඩ්ඩක් මැදිහත් වෙන්න වෙයි වගේ මම හිතන්නේ මේක.
ප්‍රදේශක මණ්ඩලයක් හැටියට අමතුමාගේ දේවල් තමයි අපි හුඟක් වෙලාවට කරන්නේ. මේ වගේ ක්‍රීඩාංගන හදන එක වගේ නෙමෙයි අර ඔබතුමා කියන වගේ මේන්ටේන් කරන්න එක්කෝ ප්‍රයිවට් පබ්ලික් පාර්ට්නර්ෂිප් එකකට යන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවකට හරි නගර සභාවකට හරි බාර දෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම මොකක් හරි ක්‍රමවේදයක් මොකද අපි හදලා අතාරියට පස්සේ සභාපතිතුමා මේව ඔක්කොම නිග්ලෙක්ට් වෙනවා. මේකට අර ක්‍රමවේදයක් හදව ගන්න ඕනේ අමතුමා. ඒක එන්න ඕනේ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් අපිට එතකොට ඒකට උපදෙසක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe has demanded that the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket step down from their positions, adding that they will have to face drastic action upon failure to adhere to these orders. In the wake of the humiliating World Cup showing and the public outcry against the administration, the Secretary to Sri Lanka Cricket Mohan De Silva tendered his resignation today.
Following the Sri Lankan cricket team's crushing defeat to India by a massive 302 runs in the 33rd ODI of the ongoing ICC Men's Cricket World Cup, Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Roshan Ranasinghe has demanded that the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket step down from their positions. He went on to say that if the Executive Committee fails to adhere to the orders, they will have to face drastic action. The minister in a press release said that the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket must take responsibility of the recent defeat faced by the men's team. In a letter addressed to the President, Sri Lanka Cricket's President Shami Silva highlighted the challenging situations faced by the National Cricket Board. He alleged that operations of the Sports Ministry are severely affecting the National Cricket Board. He called for support from President Wickremesinghe to address the following unresolved issues and ensure that SLC can function independently and efficiently by fulfilling all of its responsibilities. Meanwhile, following the national team's defeat, the Secretary of Sri Lanka Cricket Mohan De Silva has tendered his resignation. In other news, the Sports Ministry said the World Rugby Council has lifted the temporary ban imposed on Sri Lanka rugby. This was announced during a meeting between Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe and Asian Rugby Federation President Kaisal Dalai in Dubai this morning. President of the Asian Rugby Federation said that the ban imposed on Sri Lankan rugby by the World Rugby Council was lifted a few days ago in a meeting held in Paris.
A person was attacked and resulted in their death in the Kaluthara Vaskadwa area following a personal dispute. The suspect has since been arrested. Meanwhile, 9 suspects, including a police officer, were apprehended during a police raid for a drug bust conducted in Denagama, Hakmana, following a tip-off received by the police. With that, here's a look at more news from across the island in brief.
A person was attacked to death following an argument between 2 individuals in the Kaluthara Vaskadwa area. The suspect involved in the attack was apprehended by the Kaluthara North Police. Meanwhile, 2 individuals were severely injured when a vehicle travelling on the Kasbah Bandaragama road veered off the road in Jamburaliya and toppled into a nearby field. The injured duo were admitted to the Kalubovila Teaching Hospital, and the police suspect the excessive speed may have caused the accident. Further, a father and a daughter were hit by a vehicle on the high-level road in front of the Panagoda Army camp while crossing the road. However, the suspect in question fled the scene following the accident, while the father and daughter were hospitalized immediately. In other news, 9 suspects, including a police officer, have been arrested in a drug bust carried out in Denagama in Hakpana yesterday, following a tip-off received by the police. Accordingly, 6 grams and 470 milligrams of heroin were seized during the drug bust, while 15 packets of heroin meant for sale were also recovered from the residence of a constable.
Welcome back. The Ceylon Electricity Board, in a statement, confirmed that the entity suffered a loss of nearly 80 million rupees within the first 8 months of this year due to unlawfully altered electrical installations and electricity meters. The state-run electricity utility said that some people have resorted to illegal tapping into power lines and tampering with meters in an attempt to avoid making payments for the energy consumed. This has rendered the CEB incurring a loss amounting to 856 million rupees between the months of January and August of this year, accounting of what can only be described as electricity theft. According to the CEB, 1,041 raids were conducted against meter tampering and 81 against illegal tapping of power lines during this period. The losses incurred from meter tampering added up to a total of 76,427,649 million rupees, while the loss from direct tapping the power lines amounted to 2,647,407 rupees. To date, 3,695,500 rupees worth of fines were collected by the Ceylon Electricity Board after producing those guilty before courts. Fitch Ratings has assigned Commercial Bank of Ceylon's proposed Sri Lankan rupee-dominated Basel III complaint subordinated debentures of up to 12 billion rupees a final national long-term rating of BBB+. The rating agency said that the final rating is the same as the expected rating on the 11th of August this year and follows the receipt of documents conforming to information already received.
The proposed debentures will mature in 5, 7 and 10 years and will be listed in the Colombo Stock Exchange. Fitch said the commercial bank plans to use the proceeds to strengthen its Tier 2 capital base, raise long-term funding, bridge maturity mismatches and support loan growth. The bank expects the proposed debentures to qualify as Base 3 compliant regulatory Tier 2 capital. The debentures include a non-viability clause whereby they convert to ordinary voting shares upon the occurrence of a trigger event as determined by the Monetary Board of Sri Lanka. Fitch Ratings said the bank's Sri Lankan rupee denominated subordinated debt is rating 2 notches below the bank's national long-term rating anchor, reflecting Fitch's baseline notching for less severity for this type of debt and expectation of poor recoveries. Fitch also said there is no additional notching for non-performance risk as the notes do not incorporate going concern loss absorption features. The bank's national long-term rating is used as the anchor rating for this instrument because it reflects the bank's standalone financial strength and best indicates the risk of the bank becoming non-viable. Fitch Ratings assigned Commercial Bank proposed Sri Lankan rupee denominated Base 3 compliant subordinated debentures of up to 12 billion rupees, a final NLR of BBB+.
Sri Lanka's Union Bank says that it has recorded a profit of 375 million rupees within the first 9 months of the current year. The bank went on to highlight that during this time, the net interest rate contributed 4.8 billion rupees to the bank's revenue. With that, let's look at the corporate news of the day.
Union Bank has recorded a profit after tax increase of 65% to 375 million rupees in the first 9 months of the year. The firm said the net interest income was a key driver for the increase in the bank's revenue, which increased by 19% to 4.8 billion as a result of improved yields from the loan portfolio and treasury assets. Sri Lanka's Colombo Stock Exchange in a statement said that in order to facilitate the implementation of regulated short selling and stock borrowing and lending, CSE further said on the 6th of November the pre-open session will be conducted from 9 am to 9:45 am in order to provide adequate time for order entry and will be followed by an open auction and regular trading at 9:45 am. Ambient Holdings said it has appointed Business Intelligence Limited as its company secretariat with effect from 1st of November onwards. The firm said that Business Intelligence Limited will be replacing PW Corporate Secretarial Limited and SSP Corporation Services as its company secretary.
That's all the news I have for you for tonight. I'm Jonathan Benedict. Good night. God bless you.